What's up, guys? I'm gonna wait till a couple people show up here. I just wanted to kind of quickly, most people want to know the whole process from A to Z, and I'll try to break it down as best I can. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. Um, just want to do a really quick video here. Just kind of explain it, walk you through from A to Z what it takes. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What's going on, Brian? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That way you get notified whenever I post. Um, Whenever I post a new video. Also, comment below if this is your first time. Let me know. But basically, so if you don't know what real estate wholesaling is, it's essentially what. So you're gonna be marketing for off-market properties, right? You're gonna be marketing for deals. Hold on, my battery is actually low. Let me see if my battery. Give me a second, guys. My battery's set. My phone is dying. Um, so essentially, you're going to be marketing for off-market properties. What does that mean? You're going to be marketing for properties that are not listed on the MLS typically, and that are below market value. So how do you target people that don't list properties with a realtor, right? So there's a lot of different ways, and I have a lot of videos talking about that. But generally speaking, these are the main marketing channels. So there's direct mail. Essentially, what that is you're gonna be sending postcards, right? You can do cold calling. You can do ringless voicemails. You can do PPC. You can do Facebook, which I started doing. Um, you can do driving for dollars. You can do like door knocking. You can do referrals. You can do a lot of. There's a lot of different ways to do that. So those are some of the ways you do that. So once you find a property, once you find a deal, so that the most common question I get is, what is a deal? So that's going to really vary on your market. And what I mean by that is going to vary on what investors are willing to pay for a property, right? So there's formulas you can use to determine what's a deal, and I made a video on that. I'm not going to go in depth with that. So it all comes down to numbers, right? So if the seller's asking this amount, and you compare it, you use your formula to determine what you can offer, where you can make money, and the investor's going to make money, right? And again, I have videos where you guys can check that out. I'm not going to go into detail. So, so when you reach out to these homeowners, you're going to negotiate a price where it makes sense for her or him or her, right? Why does it keep saying low battery? Um, and then you're going to put it on a contract, right? So you're going to use a purchase purchase contract, right? So mine's it's just one page. I'm not a lawyer, so if that's why I don't like giving mines out, because I don't want to give mines out and then someone says, oh, but you use it and they use it and they get sued or anything like that. So find out what your local wholesalers are using in your area, or speak with a lawyer. I don't want to give legal advice. So essentially what you do is you tie the property up, right? So what this does is it gives you what's called equitable interest in the property. And what that means is you're able to market the property. Well, I'm sorry, you're able to market the contract you have from the seller, right? You're able to market this contract to a buyer, to a cash buyer, right? And that's who's going to end up buying the property. You can close on the property if you like, but most of the time you're going to be assigning it, right? You're going to do a contract for sale, because you're not a broker, you're not a realtor. You're going to be marketing the contract. You're not going to be marketing the property. I want to be very clear on that, because I've heard of people getting in trouble because they started marketing the property. You don't own the property, so you can't market the property. You're marketing the contract you have for sale. So you have a contract with the seller, Miss Smith or John Smith. You agreed on a price. You have it in writing, earnest money deposit, right? And then that contract you have with the seller, you're going to assign it to a buyer, right? And then you're going to use what's called an assignment contract, right? Agreement to assign contract for sale and purchase. You put the property, right? You put the assigner, assignee, you put the subject property, and then you put your assignment fee. So the assignment fee, the buyer's going to see it unless you do a double close, right? So the buyer is going to see what your assignment fee is when you do that deal. So they're able to see what you're gonna be making on that deal, unless you close it, unless you double close on it. Meaning you're gonna actually close on the property and then you're gonna resell it that same day. So you market for off-market properties. I'm sorry, you're marketing direct to sellers. You're not gonna be dealing with realtors, right? So again, there's a lot of ways to do that. You can do that through direct mail. Listen, everything works, right? All the marketing channels work. Everything works with consistency. Direct mail works. I still use direct mail. This was, I'm working on some deals. Some of them were actually direct mail, ringless voicemail. One is driver for dollars. What was the other one? Um, and two direct mail, one ringless voicemail, one cold call, and one driving for dollars. So that's 5 deals that they're different marketing channels, but they all work. You just got to do them consistently. So once you agree on a price, then you're gonna put it on the contract. Then you're gonna sign it to a buyer. And so, how do you find the buyers? This is a pretty common question as well. So, I have a ton of videos on that. I'm not gonna go in depth. So, essentially, what you want to do is what I found best for me personally. Either other wholesalers list, right? You sign up on another wholesaler's list. You see what they're selling the properties for. You can keep track, see who the buyer is, and then you can send them either a letter or works really well is bandit signs, ghost bandit signs. What that means is you're gonna be marketing a property that you don't even have to have it on the contract. You can just make up a number. You can put like 3-2 or 3-1, $100,000 cash buyers only, right? And then must or whatever, and just put your number there. That works well for me. Bandit signs work well, another way to get buyers is that most people don't utilize is your sphere of influence, right? There could be some people. Let people know that you have off market deals for sale, and you'll be surprised how many people in your circle, or if you tell a friend and he might tell a friend, that friend might be looking to buy a property. He has some money lying around, and he's looking to purchase a property for his first rental or first investment property, first fix and flip, whatever the case is. So that's a good way. You can do so the bandit signs, other wholesalers list, or you can JV. Auction is great. When you go down to the auction, you see the auction, they have to have all cash and they have to put a deposit once they put a bid in and they get accepted. So they have to put a deposit and it has to be all cash. Auction is good. What else? What did I say? JV, other wholesalers list. JV with a local wholesaler, other wholesalers list. Bandit signs, auctions are good. What else? You can use Craigslist. I haven't really got anything from Craigslist, but it probably works. You could do like Facebook Marketplace as well. I've heard some people get some buyers from that. Another thing you can do is I'm drawing a blank here. Yeah, so those are some of the ways you can find cash buyers. Those are some of the ways. I have a lot of videos talking about that where you can use all. Another way you can use you can find cash buyers is Facebook, right? Go on these real estate investment groups. I do have a video on that. Go ahead and check that out, where you can find cash buyers who are actively investing locally in your area, and you'll be surprised how many cash buyers in there. So you can just post a deal in there, and then you can tell them to drop their email in the comments, and they do it. And you can vet those buyers to see who's serious or who's a wholesaler, not an actual cash buyer. So back to the process. So you got the deal on the contract, right? You negotiate a deal, right? Whether from whatever marketing channel you use, and then you send a purchase contract to the title company, right? Or if you're an attorney state, you get that attorney to run the title. And what they're basically doing is making sure when you transfer the deed, there's no taxes, judgments, liens, or mortgages against the property, because you have to provide clear title in order to transfer the deed to the buyer. So they're gonna run a title search. and then in the meanwhile, you're gonna be marketing for a buyer, and those ways, the ways I mentioned before in this video, that's how you're gonna be marketing for your buyers. And then another tip, a tip that you can do to get the highest assignment fee is there's a lot that people term it differently, but essentially what you want to do is like an open house, right? Where you want several people um, to come at, when you do a showing. When you do a showing, you want more than one buyer to show up at the property, because then you want them to outbid each other, right? You don't want to accept the first offer. I what happens is, when you're first getting started, and you get that contract signed, you get this anxiety where you feel like you have to sell this quick, right? You have to get rid of it, and you're gonna accept the first offer. And here's what I found: that's a mistake, because you're missing out on a lot of money, a lot. If you get paid, if you become very patient and you wait it out, and you show it to several people, um, you let a lot of eyes see that property. If it's a deal, you're gonna get a bigger assignment fee if you sell it to a regular cash buyer or someone you've done business with. You want to get the highest assignment fee for every deal. Here's why: because essentially what wholesaling is, it's a transactional business. You're only as good as your last deal, right? So you don't know when your next deal is coming, right? Because some of these deals take some time, take a lot of follow up, right? Some deals fall through, right? There's a percentage of your deals that you have on the contract. When you have a lot of properties on the contract, not all of them are going to close. There's going to be percentage that drop off. So that's why for every deal, I try to maximize my assignment fee, because I don't know when my next deal is coming. At least that's my approach. Because I remember when I first got started, when I put it on the contract, I'm like, I gotta get this, sold. I gotta get this sold. I have this anxiety to get this sold, because I'm afraid, I don't know, the seller's gonna say something, or whatever the case is, whatever that anxiety was. Um, you need to be patient, because that's how you're gonna turn a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 assignment fee to 8, 10, 12, and that 4, 5, 6, 7 grand assignment, upgrade, and you do that against 5 deals. That's an extra 35 grand you made in your next 5 deals, right? You gotta think about that. You gotta you gotta understand, like, as long as the buyer is getting a good deal, right? It doesn't really matter what you make. So you have to try to maximize the profit on each deal, as long as the numbers work, right? If it's a good deal and the numbers make sense to your buyer, right? Um, try to get other people to bid on it. Try to get other people to see it. You don't want one person to see it and then you accept that offer, because I guarantee you that's going to be the lowest offer, right? I know there's people that say that there's your VIP buyers, all that stuff. There. My thing is, let me see here, guys. If you have questions, you guys go ahead and post them in the chat. I'll try to answer them. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Lewis? What's going on, Paul? So, yeah, try to maximize your assignments, man, because the thing with wholesaling, again, it's a transactional business. It's a commission-based business, right? You're only as good as your last deal, so you always want to maximize your assignment. My first couple of deals were only 2 grand, 1,500, 3 grand, and then I started to raise my standards. I started to expect more, right? Because I was giving these buyers really, really good deals, and I found out that they would flip it and make a huge profit, when I could have. Paul, you're looking to. So, Paul, let me ask you this. So, I think, you know, people want to scale right away. I think the problem is you need to understand. Um, you need to understand, like, what what it takes to scale, and what you need to have in place in order to do that. So, can you tell me, like, what are you trying to do exactly? Are you trying to hire VAs? What's your marketing channel? That way I can give you some tips on what you should do. Because I know from experience, hiring VAs is a pain in the ass. There's some people who, I had some bad luck with some VAs. I had some good VAs. But you have to have, number one, you have to have consistent marketing. You have to be able to pay them. You have to be able to pay for the marketing, because you don't want them to do, like, for example, if you're doing cold calling, you want them to have a lot of numbers are down because once they go to that cycle of the numbers, what are they going to do? You're going to have to keep paying them to run to the list again. You're going to have to if you're doing direct mail and you have a big batch. I remember I sent out I think it was like 5 6 grand. I'm sorry, 5 6 thousand postcards, um, and we couldn't. Me and my VA couldn't handle the volume. So she wasn't really prepared. I didn't really train her well enough to handle that type of volume. Um, where do you find a VA? So I have a whole video on where you can find VAs. VAs, you can find them. There's a whole bunch of services now, depending on what you want them to do. But what I use is Upwork. That's a great resource. Upwork, I've hired most of my VAs to there actually. But there's a lot of new services out there. There's onlinejobs.phh. Um, and they have now they have services like cold calling services where they have VAs out for you. I'm looking into that as well. But to answer your question, you would hire them from what I use, Upwork. But I know there's other services out there, but I've used Upwork from my experience. If you're looking, okay, I'm looking to scale via. I'm not sure what that means. If you're looking to scale, you need to have the exact role you want them to do. If they're going to be cold calling, so VAs, unless you're outsourcing the cold calling, right? If you're outsourcing it to like a third party where you just give them a list and they cold call for you and do that. There's a lot of services out there, but with VAs, there's a lot of training involved. You're gonna have to be training. Like I would do trainings every Monday, or at least once a week with my VA, just to kind of see, just to give her, just to see where she's at with the calls, how she's handling the calls, updates, things she can improve on. It's just a lot. It's a lot of training to involved, right? There's some people who get success right away, um, hiring. They get lucky or they find the perfect VA and they stay with them. I've gone to a lot of VAs. I've gone to a lot of VAs. I had some good ones, but I had to again. You have to have consistent work for them, right? You don't want to be paying them for them to do nothing. You have to have consistent work, at least 3 to 6 months worth of work, because you don't want to um, pay all this money for marketing, and then once that marketing like kind of I can't. It's hard to see, man. This light is really guys. I'm gonna have to end this real quick because for some reason it keeps saying my battery's dying. But if you have questions, comment below. I'll try to answer all your questions. Comment below, and I'll try to answer your questions once I'm done this. Once I end this. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this, guys. Thank you guys for watching.